Hello viewers, you're watching Afghanistan Report and I'm your host Swati Kunjra. The main stories are: Taliban claims attack on foreign tourists in Herat. Indian industry keen to explore business in Afghanistan. And political turmoil affects Afghan athletes' preparations for Rio Olympics. The Taliban continues its offensive in Afghanistan as Afghan army and foreigners remain their prime target. Recently, a convoy of foreign tourists was ambushed by gunmen in the Cheshte Sharif district of Herat province. We have a report.
On August 4th, a minivan carrying foreign tourists in Cheshte Sharif came under attack. At least 6 people, including 3 British citizens, were injured in the attack. The van was carrying 12 tourists from the UK, the US and Germany on its way back to the province from Bamia and Ghor. Bamia is a top attraction for many tourists visiting war-torn Afghanistan. Though some foreign tourism companies advertise adventure tours of Afghanistan, Western embassies routinely warn their citizens to stay away from the country. Earlier on August 1, a Taliban truck bomb exploded outside a protected hotel compound used by foreign service contractors in Kabul. As day broke, gunfire and occasional explosions rang out over the industrial zone where security forces had taken up positions near the North Gate Hotel, a secure residential compound for foreign military and civilian organizations. 3 attackers and a policeman were killed in the incident.
از اثر اینمی انتحار نه در کمپ برای کسی تاوان رسیده به هیچ کس تاوان نشده، ولی پلیس ما که در قدم اول رسید اینا را از دخولشان به کمپ یا به اینمی شرکت ها ممانعت کردن. متاسفانه که یک پلیس ما جام شهادت نوشید و 3 نفر پلیسای ما زخم برداشتن.
The attacks came after the Islamic State claimed responsibility for a suicide attack on July 23, targeting a demonstration by members of the mainly Shiite Hazara minority, which killed at least 80 people.
The crew of a Pakistani helicopter that crashed in Afghanistan is being held by insurgents. The crash took place late on August 4 and authorities on both sides of the border reported it, saying it had come down in the territory controlled by insurgents. It was unclear why the helicopter strayed into Afghan territory. Afghan officials said all 7 people aboard the Mi-17 chopper had been detained by the Taliban. India's relationship with Afghanistan has always been cordial, be it political, cultural or business. Despite having instability in Afghanistan, the Indian industry is ready to explore newer trade avenues and are keen to manifold bilateral trade. We have a report.
India has traditionally been importing dry fruits, carpets and fresh fruits from Afghanistan. Now, the country is looking to increase the inflow of goods from Afghanistan, including farm products like pulses. The advantages of increase in trade will be many. The Afghan market will provide fresh opportunities to Indian businesses. Indian business persons too will be able to contribute to improve its economic stability.
Actually, India is the second largest importer of Afghan goods, I think over 400 million US dollars. So I think it's going quite well. We've also helped them make quite a few important roadways and the dam, the India-Afghanistan dam. But I think a lot more needs to be done. And since relationships are so good, I think Indian businessmen and businesswomen will find that there are great opportunities in Afghanistan.
Bilateral trade between India and Afghanistan stood at US dollars 684 million in 2014 and 15. The same year, the value of Indian exports to Afghanistan stood at US dollars 422 millions, while imports were estimated to be worth around US dollars 262 million. During Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Iran in May, the 2 countries signed the historic Chabahar port deal and agreed to set up a trade and transport corridor through Afghanistan, which is expected to take bilateral trade even further. Not only trade, India has been playing a key role in developing infrastructure in Afghanistan. The Prime Minister inaugurated the $300 million Salma Dam, also known as the Afghan-India Friendship Dam, during his visit there in June.
I think the Afghani people are very fond of Indian people. And I think for Indian people, our take is that they are our neighbors. And it was also the Prime Minister's wish that we do good for our neighbors and our relationship with our neighbors remains very good. So with this, we are planning just that. We are hoping to open more businesses between the two countries.
During former Afghan President Hamid Karzai's visit to India in 2011, the two countries signed the Strategic Partnership Agreement, under which India pledged under $2 billion to its neighbor for various projects other than trade. India has invested in the construction of Afghanistan's new parliament building, schools, hospitals, and universities, providing funding to the Afghan Ministry of Health and helped train Afghan army and police personnel.
So India can help them by creating educational institutions, by giving them business from here, by more imports. I think it's all already under process and more of it would be a help to both countries.
India's Afghan policy, marked by its soft power projections in that country, has been strong since the era of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. His successors Manmohan Singh and Modi boosted relations and are continuing in the same trajectory. Many projects are in line for the future. India has pledged more investment in iron ore mines, a steel plant, a power plant, hydroelectric power projects, and roads, among others.
Afghanistan's Minister for Higher Education, Dr. Farida Momand, on his visit to New Delhi, met India's External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. Both leaders discussed issues of mutual cooperation, especially in the field of education. India has been assisting Afghanistan in capacity building, including providing sponsorships to Afghan students in higher studies. A large number of students from Afghanistan are studying at various colleges and private institutions across India. The Rio Olympic Games have begun, but many athletes from the conflict-ridden country have failed to make it to the mega sports event. Today we meet some athletes from Afghanistan who, despite their talent, could not become part of the Games due to prolonged political instability in their country and insufficient financial support.
The Rio Games will mark the fourth consecutive time for Afghanistan to appear at the Summer Olympics since its new government took reins in 2001. Prior to that, the country missed the Games on 5 separate occasions due to decades of conflict. Ghazi Stadium, which was built in the 1920s and was once used as a venue for public executions by the Taliban government during the late 1990s, is the only multi-purpose stadium in Kabul. Although it was renovated in 2011, the stadium still looks old with rusty gates, a dilapidated rubber track and weeds.
هو دغه ډیر را سره شوی تمرین کې بلګیو ته باندې مدرس غوښو شو مونږ ته به چې بس تاسو لاړ شئ د ځنه ډز ورز د تاسو ته پته دغه تمنګ سره نږدې دی پلی محمد خان باندې دغه شو دغه مشکلات خو ډیر دي دغه ته خپل تمرین مونږ بیا مغه خپل تمرین کوو دغه سه یو ورځ دوه ورځ نه یو جمعه پکې نه راغلی دوه جمعه پکې نه راغلی ګراوند به بند مشکل.
Much anticipated athletes in events like Taekwondo and women's cycling have failed to qualify for the Rio Games due to split in associations.
همه قسم در 14 رشته ورزشی دو فدراسیون داریم، یعنی فدراسیون موازی داریم که بزرگی مشکل بسیار بزرگ برای ما ورزشکارا خلق کرده. به یقین اگر اینمی مشکل نبود، حالا ما در 2016 در هیچ رشته ما نتونست راه پیدا بکنه.
20-year-old sprinter Kimia Yusufi has qualified for the Rio Olympics. She is the country's only female athlete competing in this year's games. For Yusufi, an Afghan refugee born in Iran, the road to the grand stage in Rio was a tortuous one. Her family fled their home country during the Taliban reign. Growing up in a foreign land, she was never given the chance to fully embrace the sport she loved.
خورد که بودم چون ایران یک محدودیت داره برای دختر مهاجر. بعد من ورزش میکردم ولی حق اشتراک توی مسابقه تیمی اینا نداشتم و اگر علاقه من میبودم خب مسلما حق اشتراک توی تیم‌ها یا تمرین کردن نداشتم.
Afghanistan has won 2 medals in the 13 Summer Olympics in which it has participated. In war-torn Afghanistan, the government gives top priority to security and invested little in sport, meaning it has been hard for sports associations to operate effectively.
Lack of strategic planning, which we consider is the main challenges that we are not able to have more athletes. But having a sports law in the country is lacking here, and we are now working together with the government to have a sports law in that we can define all those important aspects for sports development on a long-term basis for Afghanistan.
Only 3 Afghan athletes are participating in this year's Olympics. But for a country that has been at war for more than 40 years, peace is what people are longing for.
With that, we come to the end of this week's episode of Afghanistan Report. I'm Swati Kundra taking your leave. We'll be back next week with more news and views from Afghanistan. Goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.